I'd like to call the East Ascension Drainage Meeting to order, May 20th, 2021. Mr. Ogeron, would you please lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Please prepare yourself. Lord, know your so we may so that
to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Secretary, let it be known all members are present. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, sign in with Ms. Cinnamon. And no chairman's report tonight, but like you said, bless everyone that the last 4 weeks have been tough, and just keep everyone in your prayers. We're gonna move on to general business, and we'll come back to the public comment and give you 3 minutes, okay? With general business, we have an approval of lowest responsive bid for the Bluff Swamp, Mr. Savoy, or whoever's, Kimberly?
Kevin is Central Parish Purchase.
Are you you ready to go with this?
Yes. I'll make a motion. Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion and second for the lowest responsive bid for the Bluff Swamp. Discussion.
Thank you. I want to recognize what Councilwoman Cazzo has done here, because this could have been delayed by 2 weeks while we had to wait for meetings. She recognized the problems that were going on within Bluff Swamp. She did a great job of figuring out a way to move this forward so we could help the people in the swamp much sooner. I also want to recognize her work with Mike Enlow, who assisted her on this. This is fantastic work by Councilwoman Cazzo, and she should be recognized for that. Thank you.
Ditto.
Anyone wishing any more discussion? If none, motion passed. We're ready to go to work. We'll go back to public comment period. Miss Bridget Roulette.
I'm just going to address general drainage that I see, just so y'all get a knowledge of what I do. I work for Serpro. I'm outside sales. I drive all around the parish, and I see where there's issues. I'm all over. I'm Donaldsonville, everything. Right now, if there were the manpower, this would be the perfect time to pick up the trash that is normally in those drains, because a lot of that trash and the debris is floating. If there was a way to pick that up, that would be fantastic. I'm lucky. I live on one of the streets in Santa Maria that does not flood. I live on Ray Kelly Road, and we don't flood. How that happened, I don't know, especially with Ray Kelly on the road. But I know that in St. Gabriel, periodically, every year, they get the fire department to push water through the drains, to push trash out of the culverts, and then they pick up that trash and they resolve some of their drainage that way. Also, I know that a lot of the ditches have overgrown. There's a lot of growth even over the culverts. That's stuff that needs to be addressed. It's not going to fix the problem, but it will ease some of the problem a bit. Also, as far as drainage, when somebody's trying to buy property and we know that there's palmettos on that property, we all know palmettos are swamp plants. You have to have water. And even if we're in a drought, those palmettos stay green. Why are we letting people build on property where palmettos are? So that ties into drainage too, because we're automatically letting somebody build on property that we know doesn't drain. So it's common sense, it's logic, it's simple. Clean and dredge the bayous. I was right. Where was I today? I saw a big old branch sticking out of a over by Murray's. A big old tree stuck right past the bridge. Perfect time to pick it up because the water's high. It'll release. I know it's dangerous to be out there, but it's also the perfect time to get some stuff out because it's already moving. So that's just my 2 cents. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Reverend Ricks.
I would like to talk about the drainage situation, but I want to talk a little bit also about the flooding that is causing. I live off of Worthy Road on Abe Street, and right now I'm Abe Street, where they have built the new subdivision right across the bayou from, I live right at the bayou, and there's the other subdivision that has been built up real high. So the water, and then would they have that drainage running straight behind my property. So when that river, the bayou overflow, it comes over into my yard. So I've been underwater for a few days, then it just ran off and now it's running and it's backing up again. And we need to do something about it, as we're saying, about the drainage. We need to try to make sure that we get that situation worked out. I seen something today that only you all can answer that question, that I was wondering whether something you all did with the drainage on Burnside, down from it normally always flood down from by the post office all the way down past the dollar store. And the dollar store parking lot normally floods every time it rains. It's not just for hard rain, but today I went there and it was completely dry and I got water in my yard. So I said, something you all must have did to cause the drainage to flow in that area, because that area did not flood during all of this rain. So I figure something been changed there. So if it could be changed to work there, it could be changed to make sure that the water's drained off of us. And on George, the next street over half of the road flood. People have to move their cars all the way to the front of the land because the drainage is not running properly. All Worthy, for a fact, the drainage is not working. I've seen more things flooding worse this time than I've seen before. And my thing is that we do need to come together and put our heads together. I mean, and I'm quite sure many other members of the community is willing to come together, try to help come up with some kind of situation to try to solve our problem. Thank y'all so much for taking my
Ms. Lloyd Brumfield.
Drainage. You just said a prayer, God give us a break, a couple of weeks break, we can get our act together. Well, that's what that miracle, whatever, that's what that is to me. Doesn't necessarily mean shut everybody down, but shut a lot of people down in shell. So hey, we can do this. whatever it is, I don't know if it's right or wrong. And I know we're not talking about that part right now, but my card didn't get in.
No problem.
So, I'll pass. So anyhow, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I know we need to do something. And I think that each one of you that are here to serve us would take your section and your section and check your section and see what we need as far as drainage, what we really need, and talk to your people. I got a drainage canal that runs through my property, and if my dad was here, he would tell you 50 years, it's never once been cleaned out. It's called Kluak Canal. It is major cleaned out ahead of us. And if you would know the amount of people and water that flows to my property, and it's my ditch in that drainage canal, well, let me say the ditch in the front of my house that they wanted to dig out and I just shut them down, it is bigger and nicer and deeper than the one that it all drains in. So I've got Kansas City working on it. I've just been in touch with them because I have been told we need a Corps of Engineers and we need permits, and we need more Corps of Engineers, and then we need more permits. But nobody gets that act together on what we need. And I got a paper trail. So my thing on the drainage is I know where it goes, and I know when it leaves my property and it goes under a railroad trestle that has 3 openings and only one of them's opening and the other 2 are silted in. And I've brought people back there. You've been back there. I'm pretty sure we sunk you in water once. I'm not certain, but Savoy? Yeah. You know. Anyhow, they're silted in and there's no excuse. So they need to be cleaned. And if Kansas City needs to do it, that's great. Let's do it. Give them permission. Let them turn them loose. Let them do it. But then when it crosses that, the owner that bought that land beyond that, between that railroad trestle and Airline Highway, belonged to my aunt. He changed the routing of the canal, and I'm not sure how. And they cleaned out to the airline, and they cleaned under the airline.
Thank you, ma'am. What's the next one? Appreciate you.
Lighter?
Randy Leiter, Lister. Ma'am, don't worry about it. Come on up, get a card and sign up. Don't worry about that. Come on.
Thank you for letting
Go
me
ahead.
speak again. I'm new to this parish. We've only been here a little over 2 years. We've been a year in our house. We're in a 20-year-old subdivision. Like I told Mr. Ogeron, the ditches, the neighbors all say they have never been cleaned. We're not flooding, but there is a high dollar subdivision on the back side of me that has $300 and something thousand homes. They flow to us. There's ponds, where the ponds fill up. Sooner or later, those ponds are going to back up, and it's going to back the whole subdivision up. A simple cleaning is all I'm asking. It started last year in March. 1 year and some months later, still have not dug the ditch. They can come out and mark for the last 3 months. I'm not going to name the lady's name. She said in November, I'm going to be there in 3 weeks to dig that ditch. Well, I'd like to know what your 3 weeks looks like to mine. That's all I'm asking. These guys sit in their trucks for 2 and 3 hours at a time when they dug on open. I timed them. I watched. That's taxpayers' dollars, burning gas, sitting on the clock, and they're sitting in their truck like digging ditches. Please, let's get these ditches dug so everybody can go on. That's all I'm asking, so we can quit having these issues, because my house will flood one of these days if we don't. Thank y'all. You have a great
Mr. Chris Ingram.
I'm here just to make a few suggestions on drainage. We all know we have drainage problems. I don't know how we can just say development problem. We've done drainage studies on the entire development, every development. We followed every rule, parish, and did everything we're supposed to do. In fact, the parish tells what engineer we got to use to approve our drainage study. So I know I've probably paid $1 million in drainage studies since I've been in business here at the parish. So from my standpoint, we are the only one who's done a correct drainage study. This parish must have a parish-wide, full parish, not spot checking drainage study. It's been talked about for years, 20 years. We have the documentation, took it from the courthouse. Every administration, every attorney, parish attorney will give you the information. Have it, okay? Brother Butcher, give it to you, okay? Everybody knows we've been having a problem for 20 years. It's not fair to make a decision based on it rain and make an emotional decision like shut it down and have a job. So I'm gonna make a few suggestions that is simple, common sense. 20, 30 years ago, my first development, 32 years ago, Greenfield Crossing. To my knowledge, Dempsey, you know, normal rain, it doesn't flood in there and flood houses. Seven Oaks doesn't flood houses. Oakley doesn't flood houses. Maple Grove does not flood houses. Develops I'm doing right now, Hidden Lakes, it drains beautifully. Why? Because it has a drainage study. It's not our fault that we don't have a drainage study outside of our development. I'm gonna give a few common things, just things to think about. 20, 30 years ago, when Mr. Gilbert Burat was on police jury, it was a good old shake hand buddy deal, right? We need a 12-inch cover, 15-inch cover, 30-inch cover, just put this, put that. We did what we said to do, but we didn't have a drainage study. There's culverts all over this parish. I drove around yesterday for 1.5, 2 hours. I got the pictures on my phone. I'll show you after. Over 50 culverts, just driving down the road in 10 minutes, just crushed on the end, but the water can't even penetrate through it. Over 100 culverts I counted. The culvert is 18 inches and 9 inches of silt. So these culverts were put in low-lying areas many years ago with no information on how to put it in. And all the houses come in. The problem is the ditches. Wouldn't it make common sense? We already pay for drainage. What about this idea? Every low-lying area, if the culvert's 18, let's make it 24. Dig it up. This parish got equipment. The homeowner pays for the culvert.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Appreciate your comment. Mr. Derek Coco. Sir.
Thank each and every one of you, everything you do. So on Boudreaux Road, I'm building a home, brand new home, haven't moved in yet. I've been complaining, not teams. I have a culvert that comes across the street, drains the water from the other side. The ditch just got trees in it now. It hasn't cleaned out since I've built since I've asked. Can't tell me if parish ditch or private owned farm, but parish used the ditch for runoff stormwater. I have a problem with it. Swells up my front yard and it slowly drains out to the bayou. I think it's bayou that drains the river. So I guess we all know we got a drainage issue. Nobody wants to see another study. We know we've contacted the Army Corps of Engineers 2018. I think we have issues with dams that should be removed, just simple cleaning, just to keep up with the infrastructure. My message is simple. I don't want to have the fear of flooding. You know, and I know we have historical rain. What can we do to minimize the impact, save people property that have memory? That's huge to me, you know. So I haven't even moved in. Around my house, a lake, like a river. So I'm just asking for help, assistance, and I reached out to the president and found it. Thank you. Just want to thank Travis. Want to thank each and every one of you. Just hopefully we can see some progress time soon.
Denise Edmond.
I brought my pictures back because I wanted Brian to see some of this, but I think that this went, oh gosh, go again. Has the little turn this on thing. I think the big problem is when planning and zoning does something, they make a rule or they follow or they say something, there's no follow through with it. Here she comes. Because at this point, and I do want to mention, I've heard several of you say, well, this administration has not done things. Well, I'm sorry, I'm brand new to here 4 years. And the people that I've talked to, y'all know I'm not, have every one of them have said, this has been like this for 20 years. This is not a new problem. This is not a new problem. So please quit trying to blame the new administration and work with him. But either way, or them, whoever's at the administration. But this picture, oh, here's my picture. Okay, if you notice these pictures right here, with this pump, this is still like this. We've called over and over for 4 years to try and get this done. Finally, somebody snuck President Clinton's cell phone number to me one day, and I texted him and said, what do we have to do to get somebody out here to look at this? And he said, call me. On the telephone, he said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm brand new. I've been here a week. I don't think he was in office maybe 10 days. Do you remember that? 10 days, something like that. And he said, can I come by and see what you're talking about? I have no idea. So he came by and we walked him around and we showed him these pictures. He said, oh no, they're going to fix that. The zoning department's going to make them put a 90-degree angle or something. So we're getting the fresh water instead of this dirty water. Well, here's our fresh water coming in right here. Still coming. And this was my lake today that I took right before I left. Brown had, we lost a 4-foot catfish when I tell you his head was this big. And we sat there, 3 of us sat there and right where he was with our air blowers, our leaf blowers, trying to put enough oxygen to try and keep him alive. No, we didn't. We did not do the mouth to mouth. Believe me, if we thought it would have worked, there's one, and you know who she is, probably would have tried it. But now all this silt, right, that's coming from here, where I used to fish. Now I'm a big fisherman. That's why I bought there. There is this weir that Dan Bruce put in here. Okay, where this is, I used to set my line before I left my house in my little bateau. Exactly my leg, 36 inches. Okay. And that's how deep I fished. I took my nephew over there, and he kept saying, "This is so shallow, so shallow. What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said, "No, you're fishing wrong." I said, "You're on a log." And he took the boat paddle and started doing. It was not this deep.
Thank you so much and appreciate your comment, okay? Your 3 minutes up. All right, with that, we have the general business taken care of. Past President, do you have anything?
Okay, perfect. I can ask the button. That little light is so small. So, yeah, and I said it before, but I want to say it again. Our crews have done a phenomenal job this week. I can tell you that many of them were out at all 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, all night long. A lot of them have been working overtime at the pumping stations. I don't know if I believe this event is worse in areas than 2016, and that's saying something because I've never seen 2016 in my lifetime. But what comes out of it is a new direction for all of us and how we approach what we're looking at. I was able to go out and identify a lot of choke points with these high waters. identify a lot of things that I didn't know about certain areas of our parish and how they operated and what's needed in the future to ensure that they get the protection they needed. So I'm excited on where we're going in the near future. I'm excited about the project. That'll be breaking ground very soon. And we just need to stay diligent, all of us, and work together to ensure that we're providing adequate protection for our citizens. So I do appreciate constant communication, certainly with Ms. Cazzo and our Ridge Road folks out there, as well as our Bluff Road folks, because it's not just Ridge Road. Bluff Road, everything along 74 on the north side drains into the Bluff, as well as the Dutton property and well as southern part of Prairieville. So it is a very important basin for a large part of our parish, not just Ridge Road. And we need to take some action there, and we need to take it to the state level and to the Watershed Initiative. And PLD, spoken with them, think they're ready to act. And so we got a great opportunities right ahead of us here to make significant changes in how we operate our drainage in this parish. And I'm excited not only for what we've accomplished, because we've accomplished a lot. And you look at the major drainage projects that are breaking ground, we have accomplished a lot, but we're not where we need to be. And we got a long ways to go. And so looking forward to working with each and every one of you in your districts to ensure that we're providing that adequate protection. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Ms. Terry.
Thank you, Michael. President. I want to take this opportunity to thank Ron and the President. The work that is being done to try to accommodate my terribly unfortunate citizens back in that Bluff swamp area is unbelievable. You have gotten them. I mean, I wish we didn't have to do it, but you have gotten them sandbags. You have gotten them everything they needed in as timely a fashion as it could possibly be done. I know that there's a crew out right now trying to provide sandbags to a site that where a house is threatened. And I just don't think people realize that at almost 9 o'clock at night, your crew is still bagging and putting sandbags in a truck to get to people who have an emergency need for them. This job doesn't end. It's not from 7 to 4. It's all night long. I will tell you that Ron and I have communicated as late as midnight and as early as 5 a.m. So he answers his phone. The President has answered his phone. We're doing all that we can do to make what is a terrible situation as good as possible for these folks by providing them the assets they need to protect their homes. So I'm grateful. I look forward to breaking ground on this project. I know that it's going to take a while until we can get a situation back in that area where we can work. But I'm grateful to all of you for allowing us to get this thing started. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Mr. Chase.
I'm perfectly fine with us taking all the criticism in the world. That's what we signed up for, but just, I know a phone up here isn't the best, but this is a picture I received 8 minutes ago. You know, that's parish employee on the tractor and 4 of them filling in, bringing sandbags. So, you know, for the public, you know, this is something that I just want people to know. They want to take shots at us, and I'm fine. This is our responsibility. You know, these guys are on hour 15, and this is what they're doing. So, just I wanted to share the picture. Thank you, Chair.
Appreciate it. Okay. Mr. Joel, you had anything? We're going to go around the table real quick, and we're going to call it in. You'd have to request.
Okay.
There you go.
I just wanted to reiterate what the President and what my fellow council members have said about the crews, about DPW, and about what Ron has done. In addition to that, I want to touch on some of these projects. A lot of what I hear and what I have heard about the drainage, about the moratorium with this is we need to do something. What are we doing? What are we going to accomplish? I mean, one of these huge projects, which is approved, I mean, we just approved a project within the last month that is going to provide levee protection from the Marvin Bro pump to Airline Highway. From Airline Highway, it's going to connect to the Sorrento levee system. Going to upgrade that Sorrento levee system to 8 foot and connect it to the Sorrento pumping station. We're going to add a gate on Conway Bayou and be able to pump down the Conway Bayou and all the drainage that goes there. The third phase of this project, we did a resolution the last meeting to approve the whole project. Didn't fund it, but we funded the first phase and breaking ground within the next year. The third phase is to bring that levee all the way to the dump. It's going to put a gate on Panama Canal. You're going to be able to pump down the Panama Canal pump gate. That's going to help the whole parish. It's going to give levee protection, parish protection complete. It's going to stop water from going around the Marvin Bro pump. So Gonzales, all of these areas that are suffering, did flood. Bayou Francois will have more leaks because it's not coming back around. We've got the Laurel Ridge Levee Project. We've got the Fish Bayou Project. We've got New River Canal about to start dredging. And this isn't dreams. This isn't blue skies. This is ready to go, start it, fund it. So I just want to encourage everyone. I know we have a lot of rain. We have a lot of, and it's probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But that's why we need to address all this drainage. And I just wanted to commend the administration on making this decision. Also, Chairwoman Cazzo and the rest of the council peers for working together and doing what has not been done yet. It's not an easy. Thank you.
Mr. Turner?
I just want to thank all the DPW workers for the work they're doing now, and continue to work. I know we're going to have more rain events going in the future. Just want to thank them for the hard work they're doing.
Mr. Ogeron?
Thank you, Chair. The issue is not with our DPW work. I think everyone in this room would agree with that. It's the inability to plan effectively to address the needs of the parish. That's where we failed you. And I say we because this drainage board is supposed to be guiding and directing the opportunities and the individuals that are in charge of the drainage board. Essentially, at this stage, it's the parish president that is the head of our drainage board. And 16 months after all of us running saying we're never going to allow 2016 to happen again, it's happening again in some areas. And it's uncalled for. We need to get this work done. We need to stop talking about getting work done. We need to stop talking about shovels in the ground. We need to stop talking about bulldozers and excavators and getting little pumps to help pumping out a swamp. And we need to get doing this stuff ahead of time. Now, there have been warning signs for the last 16 months, and yet we're still sitting here saying we're going to blame the boogeyman. And that's easy. That's easy politics. And, and there could be a boogeyman out there. There really could be. And I'm not going to point the finger at any one industry, and I'm not going to point the finger at any one individual, but for crying out loud, most of the people I heard get up to this podium and talk, you described issues that involved maintenance problems. Most of you got up here and, you applauded the idea of the moratorium because now all of a sudden we have created, like I say, this boogeyman that we're going to be able to blame. And that's fine. I was applauding a lot of the builders. I was applauding the Baton Rouge Association of Home Builders when they came up and they said, we want to work with you to restrict some of the things that we're currently doing. But they also reminded us that we're complying with your laws. We are complying with what you're telling us to do. And you know, this is still America. You know, this is still the United States of America, and we are obligated to protect the freedoms of everyone. You know, we are obligated to protect everyone's freedoms and not start picking on one person or one industry. But that's appears to what we're trying to do here, guys. And, you know, again, while it's still great politics and it's still great political fanfare and it gets people reelected, that's not the purpose of what we're supposed to be doing up here. You know, damn it, I don't want to get reelected if I do a crappy job for you. Okay? And none of us should. You know, if we're not stepping up and doing the work and taking the punches and doing what we can, no more excuses. You know? Now, I'm going to support this moratorium because I think it's going to ease some of the frustrations that we have as a parish. And I can foresee that, you know, a lot of the frustrations we have, people want to see a boogeyman. And I've heard my constituents, and they're saying, let's support it. So we will support it. But attached to this moratorium, I'm going to make certain demands of certain people in this room that we are going to start taking actions. We're going to stop cutting corners. We're going to stop sitting on $80 million in our drainage fund, and we're going to start spending that money, start spending your tax dollars to get the work done. You know, the bottom line is past, present administrations, past, present drainage, we have failed you. We've had several studies telling us what drainage needs to be done. We hadn't taken effect on them. We just passed another one a couple of months back, a parish-wide drainage survey that I think it's HNTB that's going to be in charge of performing for us. Most of the people in the public didn't even realize that. I think I counted 9 individuals said y'all need to do a study, a parish-wide study. Guess what? We just hired another firm to do it. We're spending more money on reports and not enough money on what those reports are telling us to do. That's a travesty to each one of you in this room, and it's a travesty to everybody in this parish. It's about damn time we get off our hands and we start taking the efforts that are needed to take care of the drainage for all of you. And I'm sorry for expressing my frustrations. I worked until 5, got here. I haven't had lunch yet, so I guess my blood sugar might be a little wacky. A lot of wacky? Dempsey just say a lot of wacky?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to. That sugar-free gum, man, that's not going to help.
Cake.
You know.
Cake.
You know, but for crying out loud, come to us. I hear we're going to spend in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get together and try to come up with a plan that's going to address what we're going to do during this moratorium. One of the things I am going to ask is we got builders in here like Mr. Ingram. Okay, I'm going to ask that we bring each member of this council, appoint a home builder to assist us in understanding the language that we have to comprehend to do this. We're going to get civil engineers involved. You know, we need to. We need to look at industry and ask industry to come in and help us. We got to ask the chamber to come in and help us. Because let's face it, I just looked up here. We got a property owner. We got 3 lawyers. God help y'all for 3 lawyers up here. You know, and the rest of them, you know, the good individuals, you know, with all good intentions, but none of us know a damn thing about where the water flows or how it flows or why it flows. We just know that when God says it's time to rain, it rains, and then we have to do something with the residue. And
You need to break off of that sugar, bro.
I need to break off that sugar. You know, I agree with you, Dempsey. But, you know, I'm sorry. Thanks for letting me vent, everybody. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Mr. Odom.
Thanks.
Mr. Aaron.
Mr. Ogeron always making me look calm by comparison. Thank you. You know, I heard some really cool things, what was just said. Also, I heard Councilman Councilman Robert, I think Councilman Joel, you know, talk about the projects that we're doing. And I want to, I guess, be realistic about the projects we're doing, the time it takes. All those projects that were mentioned, Laurel Ridge Levee, the Sorrento Levee, the Fish Bayou locks, all of this, those were decades and 8 years in the make. This is not going to be a quick fix. You're not going to see a moratorium come in and at the end of it be, oh, we're doing all these projects. It doesn't happen that way. The reality is that the projects that we are going to be planning, and we are doing a drainage master plan, it's desperately needed, and the projects that's going to reveal are going to be 5-10 years down the road by the time you do permitting, and I'm talking about major projects. Now, in the meantime, we absolutely need to look at our waterways and how can we clear them out of the trees. I heard some good speakers talking about that. We've had the ability to do that for the last 10 years. Yeah, that's not something that we should be waiting on right now. You know, part of what concerns me is, oh yeah, let's go do a moratorium. That's great, but nothing that's in there couldn't have been done the last 18 months. And that's my concern. We could have been doing all of this in the last 18 months. It's politically expedient. It's opportunism to bring it up right now during a flood. And, you know, I think there is some benefit to a moratorium, but I can tell you what, not if nothing gets done, because a moratorium is just a way to delay. That's all it does. What we're talking about are solutions. If we sit here for 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, and we don't get a thing out of it and not a single solution, then we've wasted our time. Because I say this all the time, and it goes for traffic and it goes for drainage. We could not have built another subdivision starting 5 years ago, but we would still have drainage problems. We'd still have traffic problems. The key is, how are we going to fix these things? That's what we need to be focusing on. Sticking with the drainage stuff, you know, one of the things that has to be, in my opinion, added to this moratorium that needs to be done is review and revise the drainage impact studies that we do for every subdivision. I've talked to builders about this. I've also spoken to engineers about this. They said it can be done. It should be done. It would not have a terrible impact on the building community, and it would have a fantastic impact on the surrounding areas of any new development. That's something, you know, we didn't need to wait on that. It's been hard to move through, but we need to get started on that right away. That should have been added to this from the very beginning, and it hopefully will be now. As far as drainage goes, again, wider drainage ways, wider waterways will move the water. We have to start. I mean, this is something that when I first got into office, I said in a meeting that we need to have deeper. We need to dredge things out, make it deeper. And I got a very curt phone call from the head of our drainage department, Bill Rue, called me into his office, sat me down, explained to me why I was wrong, why what we need is wider based on our land, based on our topography. This is a guy that knew what he was doing, and he explained it to me. And he said what we need is wider waterways. We need to have the right-of-way. We need to have the access. That's something we don't need to wait to start working on. We need to start working on that now. So hopefully we can really get started and focus on doing the things that can be done quickly. That means cleaning out waterways. That means removing the limbs and the whatever debris is in the way. Let's get to it. We've had some great suggestions on that. Let's not delay that. So I want to thank everybody very much. And I will add a motion to adjourn at the right time now, but we can wait till everybody talk.
Mr. Chase, you had anything to add?
I second motion.
Ms. Terry, you had anything to follow up with?
No, thank
you. Mr. Dow?
I'd like to.
Wait, your microphone is still on me.
I'm
which is
sorry.
very unfortunate.
Get a place.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so, you know, I certainly appreciate that, you know, we've had some hardships in the parish over the last week. And I kind of echo some of the sentiment. Have we done what we could have done in the last 17 months to alleviate some of that? And I think it's kind of an act of God. I think we went to Houston. We all went to visit the Harris County Authority. Magnificent, $3 billion a year, huge budget. The guy that runs that is a meteorologist. He told us we cannot plan for flash floods. We cannot afford to design a system that handles a 14-inch rain in 3 or 4 hours. Can't do it. I mean, this is a guy, I think everybody would agree, very smart. We certainly saw some ideas up there I'd like to see us look into. I don't know if they work here. The elevations are different there. I'll move off of that. as far as the moratorium, I mean, I got a call from Ms. Casso about it. I was helping somebody sandbag their house. They flooded 6 times. You know, if that's, you know, at some point, I'd like to see us address that. We talked about it in a drainage meeting not too long ago. I know we're actually asking people to tell us when they flood. I want to see us do more than that. I want to see us pull some insurance company when they sell a house and they insure a house, they look to see how many times it's flooded. What are we doing grant-wise? What are we doing to help people identify when they have repetitive flooding? Are we helping them understand if there's money they can get? So I think we can do those things. I don't know what we've done in the past, but I know there's companies out there that do it in other parishes, and I'd definitely like to see us look into that more and address our residents that really need our help. The people I help sandbag, I mean, they're personal friends, but, you know, they didn't really, I mean, they flooded, but they figure it's just, you know, the bayou's backing up or an intense rain event. I mean, I want to see us help those folks. I'm okay with a pause. I got to say that I've had limited time the last 2 or 3 days to really digest this, and I've had some really good phone calls on both sides of this from some residents. Some were for a moratorium, some were against it. I don't really know where I'm at yet. I haven't had enough time to digest it. It was just thrown out here. So, I mean, I'd definitely like to see, I want to see some more specifics. If we're going to stop everybody from building, I want to see some milestones. And I'm putting that on me. I'm putting that on everybody up here. You know, we can't just stop this because it rained this week. We have to look at, again, what if we and nothing, and just to say DPW workers doing a great job, nothing against them. It's up here. We have to plan it. You know, we have to see what we're lacking. What do we need help in? What do we, you know, hate to say studies, but we're going to have to, you know, I like what the guy from Brandon Ivy said. I mean, they're willing to help us. There's other options. Maybe a pause is right. I don't know. I mean, we have to really think about what we want, what is going to trigger the moratorium ending or starting. We really have to put those milestones in and really hold ourselves accountable to the public. And man, I don't know how we're gonna, if we enact this and we do line out that plan, Mr. Quintmont, I'd like to see you. I don't know how we answer questions. I don't know how we do that, but I'd really like to see, we're going to have to see a monthly update on how we're executing whatever plan we decide on. That's got to be regular updates. It's got to be, I got to say, I'd like to see us plan better. So I think I've exhausted everything that I kind of threw together as I worked, and I took phone calls today, but I'm here to represent the people. That's the people that are concerned about the subdivisions being built, the people that want to work here, want to build here. I mean, we need to figure this out. It has been long enough. So,
thank you, Mr. Dow. Mr. John.
Am I live yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I say to all my colleagues up here that made comments, ditto. You know, we don't count on floods of 2016. We don't count on 12 to 15 inches of rain in 12 hours or less. So, and again, kudos to our DPW guy. I mean, I've experienced it. I've gone out in my district and watched them. They don't quit. They fight, try to help clear culverts. They try to clear ditches. They do what they can to help people, do what they can to help them from flooding. So the challenge is ahead, as all my colleagues have said. And so we just need to take it on and make it happen. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Michael.
I just want to say one thing. I've heard a lot of people complain tonight about, you know, ditches not being dug and things like that not being taken care of. Number one, if you are putting in a work order, if you haven't put in a work order, put in a work order. 450-1200. The parish president gave it out earlier. If you have put in a work order and you're not seeing results, send that work order number to your councilman. I have my constituents do that all the time, and I follow up with Ron. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I sent Ron an email. Where are we at on this? Where are we at on this? So that's all I'm saying. If you're not getting the results you want in a time that you feel is necessary, reach out to your council person. That's what we're here for. That's the least we can do for y'all, the absolute least. So with that, I third the motion to adjourn.
All right.
It's gonna be unanimous.
I'm worried about Mr. Corey.
Look, and I'm just gonna finish up real quick and, just real quick.
There's that real quick again.
You know, I see our sheriff's department back here. Not only, I mean, we got to give them a hand too, because look, they were out there helping us and knee deep trying to keep everybody under control. And let me tell you what, you get water around your ankles or your knees, you get some high tempers. But the only thing that I'll add, for being around for 20 years with this, you have to follow the core. I don't care what we talk about in here as far as projects. Listen, this parish was in violation for years. And let me tell you what, it takes a long time to rebuild that trust back with the Corps of Engineers. We have finally made it past that. We have a good working relationship. The other thing that I would add, I know we have ELOS on contract. We already have major channels that are approved for digging right now. I would get every mile of that, what we have approved, and Mr. Savoy, y'all present that at the next one. However many miles we have approved by the Corps to clean, the next step will be how many contractors we're gonna hire, how many additional pieces of equipment we're gonna buy, and how much manpower we're gonna need. It's very simple. So we're gonna have a little time here to figure this out, but it's just not as easy as jumping out there with a piece of equipment and going to digging, and we get ourselves and our parish back in trouble again where we don't need that. We've been there, we've done that. We have a good working relationship. Let's keep it. With that, we adjourn. Thank you.
Now you can go.